From Bloomberg World Headquarters in New York, your link to the world of business, economics, finance, and investment. This is Bloomberg Surveillance.
Well, auto sales are out today. They'll be trickling out throughout the day. They have an impact on so many other parts of the economy. Tire makers, for starters. Michelin saw sales and profit drop in the first half of the year due largely to the slump in Europe. But the French tire maker, Tom, saw an uptick in sales in the past quarter, benefiting from the bounce back in U.S. auto sales. And it announced it's hiring 500 more workers in this country.
And it's a move from the story for France over to the United States. Desperation, well, it breeds decision-making. Michelin of France, of course, in a storied 125 years, has had to make tough decisions. Expanding in the south of the United States has been one of the easier decisions. Finding skilled workers, it is front and center for Peter Selleck out of West Point and Clemson. He is president and chairman of Michelin North America. Good morning, sir.
Hi, Tom.
Is it hard to get people?
Not at all. Not at all.
They're lined up, thousands.
We are actually starting up our 19th plant in North America, our 15th in the United States, in Anderson, South Carolina. And we've actually been extremely pleased as we've hired up for the actual first tire, which will be made in December, that we've been able to find all of the people right there in Anderson County, South Carolina. It's very good news for us.
The president visits Chattanooga in the Amazon plant, a big stink, about $11 an hour. What is your base pay at a plant like that?
A plant like that, people will start actually in the between 10 and 20, more $15, $16 an hour, and will go up. But obviously, manufacturing jobs are very attractive jobs, and the impact that those jobs have on the entire community, the multiplier effect of manufacturing jobs, is really tremendous.
How closely is your business correlated with the auto sales that we're going to see today?
Well, roughly about 80 to 85% of our sales are actually in the replacement market. So when you have to replace your tires after they wear out, that's where most of our sales are. So, but nevertheless, we're very involved with the OE makers. The F-150 that you just showed, the vehicle that Ford is developing, those tires are Michelin tires, so we're very involved with them.
Excuse me, that was a South Carolina shameless plug right there. You have the tires on that pickup truck.
We sure do.
Very cool. Ambassador Haas with us, your book goes to the heart of this. You say we can't have a foreign policy unless Peter Selleck's successful.
Yeah, and the question I had for Peter is whether we're now producing through our school system people who have the qualifications and skill sets that you need. Because there are stories that hundreds of thousands of jobs in manufacturing are going begging in this country simply because Americans are not graduating with the skills that people like you need.
Well, it is a challenge for the country. There's no question about that. And we need to have more younger people going into STEM programs. Those are the hard programs when you go to college. You know, instead of taking the easier courses in college and having a really good time, you actually buckle down and study science or engineering or mathematics or technology. But that's what he's at. An example of that, this year, this country will need about 120,000 new computer scientists coming out of college. There will only be 40,000 Americans that will graduate with that degree.
Yeah, but I don't need a computer science degree to make a tire, do I?
You need an engineering degree, you need a technical degree. The people that we're hiring today are obviously much more skilled than the people we hired 30 years ago. To get into Michelin as a production worker, good, solid high school education is required. To get in as a maintenance worker, you need a technical education, and we hire a lot of engineers.
Can the people you hire do a better job with those run-flat tires that everyone's making now that allow you to drive even when you get a flat? Because they don't last as long, and they're a lot more expensive.
Well, that's obviously, the car makers drove us towards trying to replace a spare tire. That was a very important issue for them to try to reduce the mass of the vehicle to improve fuel economy and reduce emissions. So solutions to try to get rid of the spare tire, such as the run flat, have been really driving innovation for the last 10 years.
What about trying to get rid of a spare tire, too?
I'm curious about input costs.
Did you hear that?
Your spare tire, I know.
Richard's on a roll today.
I apologize. Cheap shot.
Last time Richard Haas was here, he told me to get a life, so it's not so bad. Input costs, how do you manage that at such a large scale?
Well, obviously, a lot of what we buy are commodities. For example, natural rubber is our largest commodity, and it's an open market. Those costs today are 6 times higher than they were just 10 years ago. So those costs have actually been mostly passed on into the marketplace, so tires are more expensive today than they were. But also, we've dramatically improved productivity, so we've been able to absorb a lot of that ourselves.
It sounds like the president should visit your new factory. Pete Selleck, thank you so much. With Michelin North America.
Do you get to hand out stars at dinner? Michelin stars?
That's, I can't say.
You got a star.
All right, coming up on Bloomberg Surveillance, maybe Wall Street doesn't pay like...
This is Bloomberg Surveillance. I'm Tom Keene. We're sandwiched between Fed Day and Jobs Day. Sarah Eisen with me. Scarlet Fu. Richard Haas is with the Council on Foreign Relations. Joining us as well, Pete Selleck. He is with Michelin North America, leading their manufacturing charge in the South. Of course, with Jobs Day, one of the great themes is the manufacturing renaissance of the nation. It's real simple. Detroit in the news. Can the best practices of the South move up to the North? Pete Selleck, you do things in the South differently. Can you apply those best practices back up north where it costs more?
Well, it's really up to every company. We came to the South. We came to South Carolina back in the mid-1970s. We were one of the first automotive companies to make the decision to go there, and it turned out to be a wonderful decision for us. South Carolina is great for us because the infrastructure is perfect. We actually import and export a lot of product. We bring in natural rubber from Asia. We export a lot of those large earth mover tires to the rest of the world.
So you need the ports there.
We've got to be ports, and obviously a big issue right now is deepening the ports, because with the Panama Canal being widened right now, the new container ships have about a 5-foot deeper draft.
Right.
So we need to dredge out the ports, make them 5 feet deeper so that the larger post-Panamax vessels can get in.
Ambassador Haas, my article the last weekend was in the Atlantic magazine about education and linking it to rebuilding cities. What does Detroit need to do to link best practices of education with reinvestment?
It's a big issue, and what Detroit needs to do, what American manufacturing needs to do, and I think Michelin is actually doing it, is work closely with local schools, community colleges, and the like, so their curricula begin to produce graduates who can then already, if you will, job ready. People talk about shovel ready. We need job ready. We need graduates who are job ready, and they often have these cooperative plans while they're still in school, and then when they graduate, the job is waiting for them. Why don't you say something about your experience, Pete?
Well, we actually have a three-pronged approach that we take at Michelin. The first is that we focus on elementary schools, focusing on third-grade reading levels, which are very, very important.
That early.
Exactly, because we clearly know if kids can't learn to read by the time they're 8 or 9 years old, they read to learn from that point forward. So that's very important. So we send a lot of our employees, spouses, retirees in just to read with the kids or work on math problems to help the teachers do their jobs. We have a middle school program that focuses on kids understanding the link between what they're doing in school and a career, and meeting young professionals in our company, production workers, maintenance workers, engineers, so that they can see the path that they took and decisions that they made. And with technical colleges, we've actually been able to influence the curriculum so that more of the technical school graduates can, first of all, co-op and get scholarships from us while they're in school, and then when they graduate, join us.
So it's being led, Richard, by the private sector and the local government. I don't hear anything about the federal government.
That's part of a larger pattern in the United States. The most interesting innovation right now is not happening in Washington. It's happening in state capitals. It's happening in metropolitan areas, because people there know they need to be accountable. They need to get things done. Washington, you often get credit for just simply opposing things.
Great story. We'll continue this discussion. Sarah?
And in just moments, the European